Jagudev, welcome back again. So, there is one thing which is very interesting. Somebody sent me an article, actually, I think, about the grandson of Gandhi. It's funny to see in that article and videos, it shows that you see the grandson of Gandhi, even having was playing with Gandhiji and all this, and he was living in America with his wife. When they decided to come back to India, and they had many friends around them, and for them they have great hope. I was looking at some reportage when he was talking about how he was, when he came, he was entertaining his friend, and they were all very happy with him, with husband and wife. But after some time, they all deserted him. Now, once all the enjoyment and happiness have finished in their life, they all deserted them. They all go away from them. So this poor couple, they end up in a home in Delhi, staying with even poorer people than them. It's amazing to see, not amazing, not in a joyful way, but to see how karma work. When people, you think that yes, by having hope upon people, oh, these are my friends, these are my family, these are my dear ones, that one day they will care for you. No, you came alone. One thing is that it's very important to understand. You are born alone and you will die alone. Nobody can really be your companion. As much as people tell you, yes, they are very near to you or dear to you, there will be a time where they will let go of you. Because this is how the world goes, especially nowadays with this social distancing, it's creating even more distance, because they are not connected in their heart, they are not connected in love, firstly. For very often when you look at that, people, which come from a certain kind of society, is just enjoyment of life. And once that enjoyment of life disappears, there's nothing in their life. Their life is miserable. As long as they have strength and they are young, they have beauty, and they're proud of these things, everything goes fine. And once that is disappeared from the life, it's finished. So that I was reflecting upon that, how when people depend upon some things of the outside, but poorly they don't realize their rich culture, what the Hindu culture have in the deepness, what Gandhiji himself, realized throughout his life. He lived simply, and he wanted to bring a certain understanding in the mind of people. But yet, you see how quickly people forget, So it is the same. During this lockdown time, I see people, they have time to listen to Satsang, they have time to do their japam, because they don't have anything else to do. But once they go back into the normality, it's sad. They will, hopefully they don't lose that. They keep thinking about, because you see the normalities go back again. People try to forget very quickly. So I just hope that whenever the lockdown is out, which will be in a few days' time, I'm sure a lot of people are really looking forward for that. But treasure these times, actually, because what will be later on, you don't know. It could be, but this is just a phase, Right now is just a first phase of giving you an idea what is coming later on. That lockdown can be also a permanent thing in the future. So it's not to interfere to you or anything. It's just that appreciate what you have now, and really, once that lockdown is finished, keep appreciating your life and really bring that transformation also on the outside, and don't have fear, how people see you or how people think about you or anything. Just be who you are, So that was my thinking, I was thinking about that, looking at this person. He was a scientist, and his wife was a doctor. In spite of being a scientist and a doctor, yet now they are both lonely person. So how they understand something in their life, This is where, when one lack love inside of them, they have always look on the outside. They can achieve everything in the outside, but yet inside is empty. So, I'll ask your question.
Dear Guruji, you have suggested walking away from negative companions, but what if the most negative relationship is with your spouse and walking away is not an option? How can one stay in a negative environment and still make progress on the spiritual path?
It's a dangerous question, this one. Look, there's certain situation which you can't just run away from it, Especially when it comes that that person is very near to you, like your spouse, or you can't throw your children away, because okay, they are negative or what, say, no, I don't want you, you are not my children anymore. No, it's not possible. So sometimes in this situation, I know actually some of the devotee who goes through that phase. There was one devotee, a poor guy, he passed away a few weeks ago. He was from Russia. Actually, also the Russian devotee who knows what I'm talking about. And he was very spiritual, and but his wife was very not spiritual at all, and she was always fighting with him, and it was always a struggle for him. Even sometimes you have to hide, to tell lies. Say, okay, I'm going on a retreat or somewhere, but just to come to the ashram here. And it is difficult, actually, And in this situation, I've seen him for 12 years. Actually, he's been devotee more than 12 years. About 15 years he's been devotee, and I've seen that he was struggling, and it is difficult. And of course, to run away is not a solution. What you have to do really is find little time, no matter what you do. You can escape away from that normality of things and do your spiritual practice in private. Have your private time for you. This is very important. Whether you are spiritual or not, it is important to have a certain time for yourself. And this time when you are sitting by yourself, you're doing your spiritual practice, this is for you. So it's not about engaging and telling your spouse, oh, I'm doing this and that. No, this is your private time. You can do your thing for yourself. So it's important to have one own private time, one own privacy also. It's not that you're hiding something from your spouse, or you are doing something terrible. No. What would be happy? If you are cheating upon your spouse, then you're hiding something. This is terrible. But you are not doing that. This kind of lies, they are good lies, But of course, it still, you don't feel relaxed about yourself, and you don't feel great about yourself. There's always a certain disharmony at the back, that is always angering around, and you take that with you, you don't feel free. It's a different thing, so when you can be free and really express yourself, and sometimes by expressing yourself, of course, you will bring disharmony with people which is near to you. And this you can see also often in devotees' life also, that they may be spiritual, but the family is not. So what happens is that they disassociate with the family, they disassociate with, or the family disassociate with them, it's vice versa, the same thing. But actually it's good, because you see, God have given you a different family, your spiritual family. And your spiritual family is the family of the soul itself, and there is this deeper connection. So it's not bound by the outside, you see. It is also on the inside. So when that is focused upon the inside, then it becomes very easy, Then there's nothing to let go on the outside. Then you find your spiritual path within yourself. So it's not on sharing with others until they are ready, Who knows? Because you carry this shyness inside of you, you carry this light inside of you. Of course it will shine through, because you will be different in your attitude, in your way of thinking. So what I suggest in that case, is to build up your spirituality within yourself and make yourself strong inwardly.
Dear Guruji, regarding respect for authority, I struggle to respect the Swamis when they say things I consider wrong. However, when you are nearby, my respect for you often turns into fear, which isn't what I want to have for you. So, could you please talk about respect, fear, and natural behavior in your presence?
Okay, respect. So the question was that you don't respect the Swami?
Yeah, when the person thinks the Swamis are wrong, they don't respect them.
Mm-hmm. Look, the Swamis, they normally, they have to have that humility. The Swamis should know that they are representative, also their Guru. If the Swami forget about that, of course, then they will lose the respect in the eyes of the people. It's a normal reaction. Because very often, you will see that the Swamis, they try to place themselves, not all of them, but some of them, they try to place themselves even higher than the Guru. They have to understand that, look, last year many Swamis have been out and removed and all this, because they have a certain quality, which were not what I teach and what our path stand for. And of course that react upon the mind of the devotee, because they hear the teaching of the Guru is saying one thing, and then of course they see the Swamis is telling something else, and praising their own ego or pride. Of course that will divert the mind from the people, they will say, oh, then there's something wrong. Then it is still the pride. And that can happen, because they are still human beings. They have not transcended their senses, they have not transcended their mind have not transcended, have not become divine. They're still on the process of it. And of course, until they reach to that level, the human quality will still kick in. So don't think that everybody which is also near to me are very great people. No, they are not. They have still their ego, their drama and everything else. They may, due to certain samskaras, be very close to the Guru, but yet they don't value what they have. They can be near to something. It's like somebody can see a diamond. If they don't have the knowledge of that diamond, they will value it as just a normal stone. But somebody who have that value inside of them, of course they realize. So the Guru see inside the disciple something which the outside don't see, don't perceive. And they see, the Gurus perceive that diamond, but the diamond perceive it to themselves? No, it doesn't. Yesterday we were talking, on the table. You see, for the people which is near to me now, very often I'm very strict with them. But you see, every day we offer prasad to the deity now, and for years now I've been saying, because we offer prasad to Giridhariji, and that prasad I have, and I share it with the others, and then they just leave the prasad which is left over on the table and just disappeared. So everybody, it's like they don't know what they should finish this prasad. And it's funny, some people who long to have this prasad, they don't even have the opportunity to have the prasad. And these idiots, they sit day and night around, but they don't even have any value about this prasad. They just take a little bit and then left it there like that. For years I've been telling, these people. Of course, if you tell it one time, two times, but every day is the same drama. And that's why from now on I stop giving them prasad even. This is Mahaprasad, because they lack understanding of what it is. So when somebody lack understanding of what they are having, of course then they take it for granted. So also for the Swamis also, they lack, sometimes the Swamis or Swaminis, they lack a certain understanding of what have been given to them. So of course then their pride arises inside of their mind. And when the pride arises inside of their mind, of course they will go around telling stories, or to fancy themselves. I have met some devotee who is and how much, but that don't lead anywhere. So you see, it is just pure ego. And of course, when the devotee perceives that, they will not have any respect for this kind of people. So, nevertheless, you may not accept what they are saying to you. They may not accept what they are doing. But as long as they have this orange clothes upon, you have to see that they are representing your Guru. Whether they say something that you like or you don't like, but simply just keep away from them. So like that, you will not create disrespect towards, because they still represent the sampradaya, they still represent the whole lineage of gurus. So if they don't appreciate what they have, and thinking that they are too great or too, that everything is about them, but how many have think like that? Then tomorrow they don't have, one second to the other can be taken. It has been given to you, this responsibility. So if they don't realize that, of course that will create a certain disharmony between them and the people itself. So, of course, in that instant, it's best just to keep away from them. So, and then what is sorry?
What the person says that when you are nearby, my respect for you often turns into fear, which isn't what they want. And how could one...
Actually, you see, the fear that you experience, very often I have heard that from the devotees. They said that, from outside I can love you dearly and be close to you, but when you are near, I feel fear about it, And it is not actually fear. You see, what you are processing inside of your mind, you see that respect, You see that, because the Guru is exalted, Of course, due to that exaltation of the Guru, you inside recognize that I am not worthy of that. It is not, your mind is processing as fear. Understand that, because you see, it's very, it's a very, to understand it is a bit complicated, because one thing you have to understand is the feeling. What is your feeling about it? Your feeling is not of fear. Your feeling is of joy and happiness. But that expression of it, it's expressed as fear. So that fear, what you call fear, it is actually the respect in itself. And the gratitude, because you feel that, yes, I'm very happy to be in the presence of the Guru, but at the same time, inwardly, I'm not worthy for that. So, due to this, it acts upon either I'm scared of, And of course, the mind processes it in a different way, and then how the mind processes it, it takes a different role in itself. So, then it appeared like fear.
Could you please talk about respect, fear, and natural behavior in your presence?
Well, you see, natural behavior. When we talk about natural behavior in front of the Guru, often people come in a very humble way, and because it's said that you have to be in front of the Guru in a certain way. Of course you have to be respectful. That doesn't mean you be not yourself. Of course, what do you mean? What you call yourself? Do you know really who is yourself? So a certain discipline into being in the presence of the Master is important, and this is where you humble yourself. Because this is the path. Knows one thing, that the Guru knows the inner being of yourself, and he knows very. And he have clear understanding that you live in the outside world. Of course, outside you have to be a different person. But when you come to the ashram, it's a different world in itself. It's a different, in front of the Guru, it's a different, different. You can't act the same way. So if, let's say, you are a dancer, okay, and the Queen of England is passing by, you will not start dancing in front of her. There's certain respect have to be there. So the same thing, in front of the Guru, doesn't matter how you live your life outside, but in front of the Guru, you have to be in a certain way. It's not that the Guru doesn't know about, I will tell you one instance that happened when we were in Russia. Once, when I go to Russia, all the devotees are very well covered, very nice and humble and all this, and it is beautiful, So one day, there's a restaurant for one devotee, and that devotee said, "Swamiji, please come and bless the restaurant." And so we went there to bless, and there was some devotee eating. Of course, being in the outside, they were dressed like in the outside, So their clothes was, everything was mostly out, So the moment I entered inside, they all got shocked and panic. And of course they didn't have shawl to cover themselves or anything. And they were feeling so ashamed looking down. I was just laughing to see their reaction. I just said them, listen, carry on eating, and it's normal, don't worry about it. So you see, respect is there. But of course, devotee knows that in front of the Master, you must be in a certain way. So it's like you will not go swimming into the sea with, even if you work in the office as a manager or you have a certain job where you have to wear a certain uniform, you will not go to the office you will not go to the beach or to the sea wearing that uniform, you will not go and jump into the sea, swim with your uniform. So it's the same. When you are in front of the Master, you have to act in a certain way. So.
Jai Gurudev, dear Guruji, I know that when you touch food, it becomes maha Prasad. when we offer food in puja, does it also become Mahaprasad?
Yes. Sorry.
You've said that with the food prayer, our daily food turns into prasad too. So what is the difference and how do we treat them all properly?
Funny we are talking about prasad, you know. Actually, you see, everything that you offer to the Lord, everything, the moment you close your eyes and offer to Bhagwan, that becomes prasad. And also when you have your plate in front of you, you offer it to the Lord, it becomes prasad. You know? So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 13, Bhagavan Krishna said, you know, those who surrender to me, you know, and offer to me the food that they eat, you know, that food become prasad. And this prasad, when they eat, they are free from all their sin. But there is many who just eat their food just for the sake of pleasure, you know, for the taste. In reality, they are eating sin. So when we look at this verse, you know, in the Bhagavad, where Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavan Krishna is saying about it, that with which kind of mind you are eating the prasad, you know? Which kind of mind? The devotee's mind, when the devotee is eating prasad, the mind knows that these have been offered to the Lord. And this prasad, which symbolizes that I have earned this, you know, it's not just a normal food that I'm just eating for just taking and eating. That I'm worthy to eat this food, and this food is not just a normal food, but it is blessed. When it is blessed, it is sanctifying me. It is transforming even the karma itself. But for that, like I was saying, one must understand what is prasad itself. You know? Yeah. When we sit and eat, whether I ate, okay, whether you're offering to the Lord Himself, you know, when you offer to the Lord Himself, it becomes mahaprasad. It's not just simple prasad like. Well, prasad is prasad, you know, whether it is from the Guru Prasad or from Mahaprasad from the Lord Himself, but when you're offering to the Lord, this is sanctified. But so to understand what is happening when you're offering the prasad itself, it is amazing. You see, when the devotee offer the Lord the food that they are going to eat, that the Lord accept it and send His potency inside it. So that prasad gets transformed. So when you're taking it, inside is the Lord Himself. That's why in Puri they said there's no difference between Bhagwan and His prasad. Again, a few days ago I was saying that. So Bhagwan and His prasad, there's no difference. In Puri, there's much emphasis is placed upon the prasad of Jagannath Ji. Because when Bhagwan tastes the food, when you offer it, you know, you may notice it or you may not notice it, but when the moment you have think about Him, the moment you have chant His name, He have tasted it. And that's prasad, when you are eating it, it's not just normal food like that. It's radiating a certain reality. And that prasad itself, in the middle of it, is Bhagwan Himself. Then around is His ananda, His bliss, which He emanates. And then outside of it is a consciousness, which is it. And then it is a power that holds everything. So prasad is covered with many layers of the divine essence in itself. So when one is taking this prasad, whether it is tirtham, which is the holy water which have washed the deity or washed the feet of the Lord, or the prasad itself, when you take that, you're inputting that inside of you. In the Christian, they also offer the Eucharist, for example, when they do the Mass, and then the body and blood is offered to God. Of course, that gets transformed, that gets changed, you know. and it becomes divine in itself, and that which is given to the people. So it is a reminder also, this is Mahaprasad. But when you eat you are eating it, there's a certain transformation, because that what Bhagwan have taste, it is inside of you. And that what is inside of you is transforming and cleansing you, from inside itself. There is a beautiful story, in when the British wanted to capture the temple of Jagannath in Puri. They know very well that they were not allowed inside the temple. But you see, when they were occupying India, they show their power, they show their strength. They have arms, they were very well versed in their conquering way. So they wanted to enter. They forced themselves to enter the temple. And in Puri there is a different gate. And one of the gate is called Singadwar, which means the gate of the lion. So as they were pushing themselves to go in, all the pandas, all the priests, of course they tried to stop them, but they were weak. So what happened? They all ran away, hiding. So as they were entering, there was something, what happened? There were hundreds of monkeys, langur, it's one kind of monkey which is white, black face, long tail. So they all came from different places. It's like something have called them in one place, and these monkeys start attacking these British people. So they got beaten up by the monkeys, and of course they retaliate, they run away. And once they start running away, they were in shock, and once they start running away, all the monkeys disappeared again. So they were shocked when they saw what had happened. So they went and then the pandas came and said, "You wanted to go and see Lord Jagannath, eh? That's why you were so eager to go inside the temple." Then they said, "Yes, we want to." Of course, they were in a shocking state. They wanted to. Then the pandas said, "Okay, fine. You can't go into the temple, but we will bring Jagannath for you. We will bring the Lord to you." So they put them all to sit, and they offer them Mahaprasad from Bhagwan himself. So when they ate the Mahaprasad, there was certain transformation inside of them. And due to that transformation, they realized that what they were doing was completely wrong, and that they should not have entered into the temple. But they come to that realization only through the grace of Mahaprasad itself. As I'm telling you, there's another story which is popping in my head, and it is during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he had one disciple called Shivananda Sena, and he was a very dedicated person to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was serving the Lord. He stayed in Calcutta, and he used to offer bhog to everybody who come, and he was serving them. So one day there was a dog who came, and the dog became very close to him, and he started serving, looking after the dog and caring for the dog. So one day he wanted to go and see Mahaprabhu in Puri. At that time Mahaprabhu was staying in Puri. So he decided, how I will go, but I'll take also the dog with me. So he took the dog with him, and as they arrived, they have to cross over by a river. The boatman didn't allow the dog to come inside the boat. So he gave lots of money to the boatman, and the dog was allowed. So the dog came to Puri. And when he arrived in Puri, the dog disappeared. Nobody could see the dog. So everybody, all the devotees were looking for the dog everywhere because he was a well-known person and a well-respected person. So everybody was looking for the dog, then could not find the dog. Where is it? So the next day, he went for darshan of Mahaprabhu. When he went to darshan of Mahaprabhu, he saw the dog was at the feet of Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu was feeding the dog with coconut. And they were very happy to see the dog. And the next day on, from that, they never seen the dog again. So they asked Mahaprabhu, where is the dog? Then Mahaprabhu said to him, Shivananda, he said that the dog have attained his spiritual body due to the eating of Mahaprasad itself. So there's another story also of Mahaprasad, in the life of Chaitanya, of Sri Ramanujacharya. Once Ramanujacharya was walking with his 5 devotees. He was walking along a tank, a water tank. And as he was walking, Sri Ramanujacharya was eating. And as he was eating some things, he was eating and throwing it into the river, into the pond. So the fish was coming to eat. And when the fish was eating this Mahaprasad, they could see that the fish at that moment will just leave the body, the soul will leave the body, and the disciple, they will see that they have assumed a form of Vishnu, and they were ascending into Vaikuntha. The disciples, they were shocked to see that. And of course, Ramanujacharya was eating and walking, he didn't give much importance to that. And the disciple was shocked, they could not walk. And then they asked Sri Ramanujacharya, please, what have happened? Why they just left like that, their physical body? And then they ascend into Vaikuntha. We can see that what is happening. Then Sri Ramanujacharya said, this is the glory of Prasad, because they have eaten what I have eaten, and I have given to them, and they are free. They realize the glory. They realize what the prasad holds, and they were liberated instantly by eating the prasad. And the disciple thought, but we have been eating with you all the time. We ate your remnant all the time. Why are we not liberated? Then Ramanujacharya said, look, the fish, the animal, they go with the instinct. They don't go with the mind. They don't think. So due to that, they don't create any karma. So just the element, the prasad itself, when it touches them, of course for them, they get liberated. But whereas you, because of your mind, you have to analyze everything, you have to think about everything, of course that don't have the same effect upon you until you transcend that mind and transform that mind so that it become a mind of completely surrender to the Lord Himself. Until that, you keep on. You can eat any prasad you want, but it's just like Krishna said, for those who are just eating like that, it doesn't act in any way. So that verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also explained the glory of prasad itself. Those devotees who have prasad and really understand what it holds, that the Lord and His prasad is no different to it. The Guru and the prasad doesn't have any different to it. So when you are having that prasad from the Guru or from the Mahaprasad from the Lord Himself, this is one of the most important things that transform oneself. and elevate oneself. That is said, the dust of the feet of a Vaishnava, the tirtha, the water which have washed the feet of the water, which have washed the deity, and the prasad, this is the free things, but the Vaishnava should hold dear to themselves. Because that's what really yesterday we were talking about the devotee, a pure devotee, they get transformed, and really by this remnant of the Lord himself. So understanding that prasad is not just to put on the table and here you eat like dogs, No, you have to really take it with gratitude, that you have to deem yourself worthy. But in this life, you have come to that point that, yes, that I'm worthy to have that prasad from Bhagwan himself. Otherwise, it becomes just like people who eat. Like he said, those which is just eating their food for the aim of sense pleasure, for this to please the tongue, because the taste is not inside of you. The taste is only through the tongue. Most of the time, people settling their food and all the stuff just because of the flavor of the tongue and the smell. And the eyes to look, it is beautiful. And the praises of people will praise you afterwards for what you have cooked. But that's what Bhagwan said. If it is just for that sake you're cooking it and look beautiful on the outside and just to get praise, just to think that the taste is wonderful, just for that tongue, just for the eyes to see it's beautiful, and just for to hear, to smell it that it is nice, then it is just sin. Because it is nothing to do with the Lord. It's nothing to do with God, So that attitude of how also you're cooking the food is also very important. That attitude when you cook the food, you're cooking the food as a service to the Lord. It's not that it is a burden, I'm cooking the food, now I will eat. No, that how you're cooking the food is also very important. Of course, you see, when we are talking about food right now, I'm talking about to the devotee, we are talking about vegetarian. We are talking about vegan and somebody who it is very important which kind of food we are offering to the Lord himself also. And also what food we are offering to this, to make it prasad inside. Otherwise it's just sin that we are eating. So it don't change anything. When people are eating sins, it's more increasing that sinful inside of them. Then it, of course, it looks beautiful, it tastes beautiful, but it's empty. It's dead food. So, but the devotee which is surrender, they knows the difference between a prasad and just a food which is offered like that. So wherever you are, you see, whatever you do, it don't cost anything. Just to close one's eyes and offer the food to the Lord himself, and then have it as Mahaprasad. And there once I was telling a story of a disciple asked, said, "Oh Lord," asked his guru. I said, "Okay, we're offering all this food to Bhagwan, but does he really eat?" So, to answer to his question, the Guru said the Guru didn't answer the question directly, but he made a certain things, He gave them a certain Vedas to recite, Veda mantra to recite. So they all learn it. They gave them on for sure on a paper. No, there were no paper at that time, but I'm sure, I forgot the name of that, palm leaves, And of course everybody was reading and repeating and chanting. And on the arrived day, the Guru asked them, "Okay, now you all recite." So everybody were reciting. So the Guru said to the disciple, "You were asking me a question about if God really eat the prasad. Why we don't see it when he eat it. Sometimes we see, sometimes we don't see. We have many experience where the Lord himself take and accept the prasad. So then the Guru said, "Look, while you offer the prasad to the Lord, of course the grace of the Lord have descended upon that, and the transformation of that have happened. It is the same how you've been reading. You see, when you have been reading in the palm leaves, You see, do the writing disappeared? No, the writing doesn't disappear. The writing stay there, but you take it inside of you. So the same, the prasad which is offered to the Lord, of course the Lord accepts it in a spiritual way. He accepts it and transforms it into Mahaprasad. So like that, when in your mind you offer the food to the Lord, He does accept it. The moment you take His name, that food is present in front of Him. You see, there's an experience of one devotee from Kenya. Actually, some years back, I told the devotee to stop offering food, just offer little things, but not big food, all the stuff. Because in general, here when we eat, I don't eat so much like older people eat. I eat just a little bit, but yet I feel so full, because everywhere else the devotee is offering food. And maybe that's why I put on weight, so much just by taking the food. I told the devotee in Kenya, please tell your mom, please stop offering so much food. Just a little bit is fine. So you see, indirectly, or directly, Bhagwan accept the food that you offered and transform it into Mahaprasad itself. And knowing that, one must really take it with gratitude and love, and be worthy that you have been allowed to receive even a small particle of that Mahaprasad, because imagine how many lives, of penance have you done to be able to attain to this. So do offer everything, because you see, this is life of a devotee. A life of devotee is to remember the divine, to remember Guru and God all the time of the life, and also during eating time. So, Jai Gurudev. There's one more question. Okay,
Dear Guruji, can you please tell us
why
there have been so many children born with autism? What can we learn from autistic people, and how can we help families with such children?
Actually, autism, lately it's true. You will notice that many children are born with this deficiency, But in reality, you see, when a child is born in that way, the mind process, what we were saying earlier, like Ramanujacharya said, what affect our state of being is our mind. But when the mind itself is not creating any karma, then you become a source of service. So when you become a source of service, it's allowed everybody around you to become humble also. Because to serve, one must be humble. And actually it is a blessing from God that such soul come as a reminder. There is many people which is born with certain deficiency. They come in the form of a reminder that we are here to serve. So autism also is a state where the mind is not creating any karma in itself, and it allowed the people around them to serve. So meaning again, life is about service. It brings one to the state of realizing that it's not about one person. If we want to serve, we have to forget about ourselves. So these children are born as a reminder. These souls inside of them, because they don't create any karma, they are finishing, if they have a little bit of karma, they are finishing this karma. And of course, when they are finishing their karma, they are also helping those which is helping them or serving them to evolve, to grow, to transcend a certain limited reality, you know. So they are blessed soul which have come to help humanity, to help the people around them especially, and make them humble. So help the people, you know, help these children, also grown up, you know, also elderly people, you know, realizing that you are a devotee of the Lord and the Lord reside within everyone. You know. In the Bhagavad, you know, Bhagavan said, you know, my devotees, those who surrender to me, you know, they bow down to the trees, to the water, to all the elements, you know, realizing that everything is the body of the Lord Himself. So realizing that everything is the aspect of the Lord as a reminder of His love and grace, now, so serve everyone in that way. So good day.